Hello, hello, and welcome, my friends. How are you doing today? It is 5 p.m. here in Las Vegas, Nevada. My name is Casey, and thank you so much for joining me for this trauma sensitive yoga class series, actually, because we're going to be doing this for the next 5 Wednesdays. Um, Let me know if you are new to me. Oh, I see some familiar icons. Hello, hello. Hi, Julie. Welcome. Hello, hello. I see Peyton. Who else do I see? I see a couple familiar icons. So I'm so happy if you're joining me. If you're not unfamiliar with me, but let me know if there's anybody. Yeah, let me know if there's anybody new to me. If this is the first time you've joined me for yoga, maybe you've done meditation with me previously. I haven't done meditation on Insight Timer in probably over a year. If my schedule allows, I would really like to open that back up because it was a ton of fun to do the EFT tapping. I loved writing those and making those for anybody who wanted one specifically. Nirali, welcome. Yay, welcome, welcome. Lee, welcome. Angela, you're new, first time with me. Perfect. Andiel, love it. Yes, this is a completely different series. Absolutely. And joining from Indiana, welcome, 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 everybody. First and foremost, and I'll ask it again because I know a few more people said they were joining. Does anybody need chair yoga? I have my chair where I can show the postures if need be. Like, I don't want anyone to not feel that this class, this practice is inaccessible because this class is absolutely accessible. I am going to talk for just a little bit. I'm going to try to wrap up at quarter till the hour, but we may go for the full hour. This is something that I hold dear to my heart. This is explicitly geared for my ladies. Hi, Patricia. That have survived, because that's what we are. We're effing survivors for having gone through what we've been through. And just so you know, healing is not linear. And I'm not the first person to have said that. Healing is one of those things that comes in layers. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I found yoga and then trauma sensitive yoga, because I was just going over some notes and I realized I've been certified in this for 5 years and I can't even believe it, because it just felt like yesterday, and it's a progression, right? You just learn one branch or one philosophy or one way of teaching yoga, and then you just kind of get curious and you want to know a few more things, and then before you know it, you're like, wow, I kind of dabbled in a few things. So I found trauma sensitive, and we also call it trauma sensitive, trauma informed. This is considered an intervention. This is not a practice like you would go to all the time, right? Because this can be very triggering in some ways, right? Lee, there are male, absolutely, 100%. And I'm so sorry, this is not just for women. This is obviously for men and women. I just know I usually draw more women, but men are absolutely, absolutely part of this group, of course. So how I found it, I was living in New Hampshire at the time, and I went to a NAMI conference, which is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. My mom has dealt with mental health issues her whole life and impacted me severely. And so I was going to the NAMI conference, and then one of the speakers was talking about ACEs, adverse childhood events. Adverse childhood events, ACEs. So if you're curious, if you haven't heard of it, ACEs, hi Carrie, hello, hello. Look it up if you're not familiar with ACEs. And it was basically a study done by Kaiser, I want to say in the 90s. I could have my dates wrong. Yeah, you are. Okay, right on. Yeah, I was a member. I've been trained in NAMI and how to facilitate and all that good stuff too, families. And it's if you're familiar with NAMI, it's a wonderful organization, and a wonderful support. So I was going there as a child of a person with mental health issues, right? So at the NAMI conference, the ACEs person was talking, and the whole reason why I even signed up for that workshop was to be of help and to be of service to my nephew, who was 3 or 4 at the time, and his parents were going through a divorce. So I wanted to be somebody that he could rely on, because understanding, coming from a family that had a mom and dad that separated, I wanted to be there for him. And interestingly enough, I was going there to support him and help him, and found something that I needed for me. So once I dove more into the ACEs stuff, and then picked up some books on trauma yoga and things like that, and it really just, my body gravitated towards yoga before my head and heart understood. It was just like a physiological thing. And I found yoga and I started going in 2007. So very much a part of my life. And this is why I practice it. This is why I teach yoga, is because I understand the power of yoga and the power of movement, the power of the breath, and how, all of the things I've learned, many of the things I've learned are applicable and help me every day on a daily basis, like checking in with myself and, getting grounded in my body and understanding when I start to go into that fight, flight, freeze mode. And we're going to talk about that because this is something that we can help ourselves with. And so that's why, this is a very special niche little class that we're holding right now for the next 5 weeks. I really do want to build on each week. So we may look at some very familiar postures. I'm not worried about the names or what it looks like. And this is another reason why I do feel like having and holding space for a trauma-sensitive, a trauma-informed practice online is wonderful, because you are in the privacy of your own home. If something does not feel right, and this would be the same thing I'd be telling you if we were in a class, together physically. If anything ever does not feel right, don't do it, right? If it's something that's, like you can work through, you can breathe through. I don't want anyone injuring themselves, no pain, right? This is not no pain, no gain. I want you to feel comfortable, because it's really about getting into the physical body. And because of my experience, understanding that, right? Because of my abuse as a child, I did not feel like my body was my own. I felt like it really was, just here, and it didn't matter if I said no. My body was just to touch for whoever, whenever, right? And then through yoga, feeling like, okay, this is my body. You do not have the right to touch me. I can say no anytime I want, right? And that goes for anybody. So the same thing in your yoga practice on your mat. If it doesn't feel right, don't do it. And a lot of what I learned in trauma-sensitive yoga, I can't help but leaks into my regular formatted classes, because it's inviting language. And also, and I see that last comment there too, Chandra, because of my experience being a special education teacher and offering so many choices, because understanding that not every body is the same and we all have different levels that we're working at. So, be mindful, do what feels right. If it feels good, then you can always explore more. And that's the kind of language I'm going to use: explore, invite, discover, be curious. This is non-judgmental, and then what else do I want to say? Oh, yes. So this was something very powerful. And I'm going to give you one more quote. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about stuff really quick, and then we'll get started in our practice. So that's why I wanted to hold kind of a shorter practice. In 2020, during the shutdown, I started to have intense flashbacks. I had never had flashbacks before, and you're talking about something that occurred 35 years prior to 2020. So I had never experienced intense flashbacks like that, and it was really upsetting. And realizing like, okay, this is my body, my brain trying to deal with whatever happened, and we're in this very extreme state, right? Beginning of 2020, very extreme, very, very different than anything I've ever experienced in my life. So very triggering, right? So I'm sure, maybe I could say I'm pretty confident that I'm sure a lot of people have started to experience some complex PTSD. And so because of that issue, I did start going to counseling again. And the therapist was like, yeah, you definitely, complex PTSD. And so PTSD is not necessarily, this is what I look at as PTSD. 2 people, 3 people, 4 people could go through the same event, right? Let's take any event. You could take 9/11, whatever, any event. You could survey the people. Some people will be impacted more than others and some less. And so that's what I find so unique about trauma, is that you and I could be in the same car accident and I could walk away and be like, yeah, that sucked, right? That was terrible. And then you or somebody else could walk away and go, that was life-changingly traumatic. That's that's why we need to be able to respond, right, and recognize what's happening in our bodies. But because of what we've gone through, we're so removed from our bodies that we don't know how to ground back into them. And that's where yoga comes into play, and breath work and guided meditation. All right. So like I said, why this is so wonderful for, trauma sensitive, trauma informed is great online. You're at home, you're in the privacy of your own, comfortable place, and that's really what's important. So have your supports, have your props, whatever you like. Have some water, have some tea, have some candles. I have incense and candles going right now, and then I have my little fur baby with me as well. Nirali, and you're experiencing flashbacks, so I'm sorry that that's what's happening right now, but let's give you some tools. And really, this is what this practice is about giving you some tools, but obviously very specific. So I'm sure you can probably gather there are going to be certain postures we will not be doing. They are not incorporated in what you would consider a trauma sensitive class, a trauma informed class. The practice is never meant to trigger or put anybody's body in a position that is compromising. And so that's why even I offer even more, like permission for yourself that if really something doesn't feel right, don't do it, right? Skip it, take a breath, child's pose, sit comfortably until we move on to the next shape. Or if you have a better choice because you know your body, do that. All right. One thing I wanted to say, and it says yoga's ability to touch us on every level, physical and mental, makes it a powerful and effective means for trauma survivors to inhabit their bodies safely, calm their minds, experience emotions directly, and begin to feel a sense of strength and control. And exactly, Chandra, reclaiming our bodies is so powerful. It's so powerful because this is our vessel, right? This is the vessel that our souls inhabit while they are on this planet, and we need to take good care of them, right? And we, and I was telling a friend yesterday, doing a lot of work, a few years back, solar plexus for me, solar plexus and throat chakras go together for me because I could not speak like how I'm speaking to you right now 10 years ago. But doing a lot of the work, right? Finding my voice through my power, right? Knowing that I am an intelligent, capable being and what I have to offer is more than enough, right? I didn't have that before, but because of my trauma and my shame from the trauma, right? It took away my powerhouse. It took away my solar plexus energy. And I just didn't have the confidence, self-esteem. And now that I feel more confident and comfortable in who I am as a female, as a human, my voice is able to come out now, right? All right, does that make sense, everybody? Okay, beautiful. All right, did anybody need chair yoga? One more time, just let me know, holler at me, say, yes, I need chair yoga, and I will give you some, we'll do some, okay, I see some hearts coming through. I don't know if that means yes. I don't know if that means yes, I need chair yoga. We'll do both. If we need to do both, we'll do both, right? It's not, don't stress about how much we're doing, okay? It's about feeling. All right, so I see a few more people have popped on. Does anybody need to let me know of any physical limitations or injuries in their bodies that I need to be aware of and that I can take into account as we're practicing? If not, that's okay. We'll just go ahead and start practice then. Okay. Yes, let's do that then. Going once, going twice for chair yoga or any kind of help or assistance. Okay, a little less transition would help low and on the floor, absolutely. If we come up, we're gonna come up and then we'll come down. I won't do you up and down, up and down, up and down. How's everybody's energy level feeling? Are we feeling okay? Because depending on energy, I'm sure we're gonna have, just some have a lot, I'm sure some will have less. And wherever we are, we can just kind of meet in the middle. So I'll bring us up and down. Energy feels good. Okay, hi Heather, how are you, mama? Okay, it's been a crappy long day. Yeah, I hear you. Trust me, I'm holding a lot of tension in my upper shoulders today. I think it's just the stress of life right now. Mellow, oh, you're sick, I'm sorry. It was so weird. I went to the the holistic health conference here in Vegas over the weekend. Well, Thursday, Friday, and then it was supposed to be Saturday and Sunday. I ended up getting sick Friday night at the holistic health conference. Isn't that funny? Yeah, ironic. Yeah, funny. Mm-hmm. All right, friends. Let's find a comfortable seat. Find a comfortable seat. And like I said, if you have props, please feel free to use them. And if you don't, use what you have around the house: pillows, blankets, towels. Anybody else? How else are we feeling? Oh my gosh, going to your PCP. Yeah, this is why I try to stay out of hospitals. I really try to stay away from those places. I feel like I always get more sick when I go close to them, you know? It's so funny because my dentist is in like a doctor's office, you know, right next to a hospital. I'm like, ugh, every time I go to the dentist, I'm like, ugh, please. Okay, friends. So wherever we are, comfortable seat. You could be sitting on the floor. You could be sitting in a chair. I didn't hear anything about chairs, so I'm just going to leave it there. But let me know if you need it, okay? So we won't be doing a whole, we're going to start sitting. We'll do some stuff up high, and then we'll bring it back down. All right, so sitting nice and comfortable. And just notice, right, where your shoulders are in space. Do they feel like they're leaning forward or leaning back? Just bring the shoulders over the hips. And then can you feel your sitting bones? And maybe just from here, just rock a little side to side. I really want you to start thinking about and feeling into your body, right? The interoception, what's happening on the inside, right? Proprioception, our body's moving in space. And then just that awareness of our bodies in space and like the reality of it, right? We have blocks, we have floor, right? So even here, this is nice too. Bring the hands to the floor, wherever you are. Hands to the floor in front of you, maybe hands to the side. And just so you know, I am recording this on my phone and it will be uploaded to Patreon. So if you, if you miss a week and you want to come back and watch it, you can always purchase it through Patreon as well. All right, so I'm going to do all 5 of them there. So just feeling your hands into the earth, into your mat, pressing here. And then as you do that, you might notice a little engagement, right? You might notice these things up here in your arms, these muscles, the biceps. You might start to feel them engage a little bit, or maybe even the triceps. Oh, you guys, sending that love right back to you all. Thank you so much for being here. You know, it's a shame that this is the kind of world that we had, you know, that we had the reality we all had to kind of live through and survive, but we made it, right? We're all in different parts of our journey, but you're here. And like I said, that healing is not linear. It is like a spiral, right? We got to kind of like move away from it and then come back to it, work on it a little bit more. It comes up in different times, different people, different relationships, different situations. So sometimes it hurts a lot, and we got to move away, right? Because we can only take so much. And then you get a little more healing, and you feel more like, okay, maybe I can come back to it and do a little more work on it, and then I got to move away. But you know when enough is enough, right? Or maybe that's what we're learning. We're learning some really good boundaries as well. We're learning boundaries about, you know, how much we can tolerate, how much we're willing to accept, or the things we're not willing to accept, right? Treatment. You know, we may start to accept treatment that we know is not okay, but we take it anyway. These are all things, right? Different issues we all kind of struggle with maybe from this kind of survival that we had to go through, right? Yeah, I could spend so much time talking about all this stuff. All right, so you've kind of pressed your hands into the earth. You feel that engagement. Then maybe just bring your hands to your knees. And I want you to make some fists with your hands. And then release. And then close. And release. Close. And release. And then I want you to really start to make those fists with your hands and engage the arms. And then maybe you even start to flex through your feet. Can you feel your lower body tensing? And then gently release. Notice the difference. Okay, and then once more, let's try it again. Tense up all the muscles, make fists. Squeeze the legs if you can. And release. Good. And then bring a hand to your heart. Bring a hand to your belly. This is us centering and checking in. Breathing into the heart. I ask you to observe, what do you notice? What are you observing as you're breathing? What parts are moving? And then notice your breath. Without changing anything, just notice it. Does it feel heavy or light? Cool or hot? Give your breath some adjectives. Carefully bring your hands back down to your knees. I'm just going to start with some slow head rolls. So again, as you're doing this, I invite you just to kind of notice your body, your thoughts. Are there any areas in your body that feel a little tighter today? I know I've been dealing with upper back stuff today, so that's just, I think, mostly stress, unfortunately. Oh. But I know as we move, right? As we move, we can definitely release some of that sensation. Now, since you are in a safe, comfortable space, at any time during practice, if it suits you and it feels right, you are more than welcome to close your eyes, but not necessary. Good. And then when your chin is at your collarbone, just go ahead and reverse the direction of those circles. Slowly rolling out your head. And then maybe you decide to make them smaller circles. Maybe you don't go as big. So I definitely invite you to explore. Explore the range of motion. Make that circle nice and small. Or maybe make it a little bit wider. But whatever you're doing, just keep breathing. Good. That nose comes up, that's when you're inhaling, and the nose comes down, that's the exhale. We'll bring our heads back to center. Go ahead and switch the crossing of your shins. And then just wait there for a moment, right? This might be the awkward way, the funny way that you normally don't cross your legs. Usually when we come down to sit to Sukhasana, we kind of have like a preference of which leg is in front. So just notice the difference. And then kind of like how we did when we first sat down, can you rock a little side to side? You don't have to go as fast, you can go slow. Or maybe it feels a little bit better to rock a little faster. These are all choices and options, right? And then if my regular people, my regular yoga people that are, come to my Friday or my Sunday class, you notice the language is kind of similar, right? And it's just kind of, like I was saying, it just kind of bled over, right? It just kind of seeped over into my regular teaching practice of using these very encouraging and inviting optional choices. Like, I can't force you to do anything, right? It's you. It's your body. Your choice. Literally. Like, I can't tell you what to do with your body, but I can invite you to do it if you want to. And maybe you try it and you're like, oh, okay, this is all right. All right, so from here, let's take our hands on our knees. We're gonna do some seated cats and cows. So just come forward, lean the heart forward, inhale, and then as you exhale, round through your spine. Maybe look in that triangular little space in between your legs. Inhale forward, exhale back. Again, this is all very individual, right? How deep you take it, how much you round through your back, how much You bring your heart forward. These are all choices. And that was something I had to learn, as a yoga practitioner. Um, and I'll talk a little bit as we're moving. School was always, always, always very safe for me, right? And I excelled in school, right? Like home life was hard, so little Casey loved to go to school and be a star student and, get good grades. So I think that's why education felt like the right path for me to teach. So that's what I did. I went to school and, of course, spent many years in college, right? Doing my associate's degree and then transferring to university, finishing the BA, getting a credential, and then eventually getting a master's degree in special education. Obviously, I was in school a lot because it felt good and I was successful, right? All right, and then just stop for a moment. Just come back to center. Notice your spine. Notice your posture. Do you feel like you're sitting up a little bit taller? Do you feel the sitting bones grounding? And it's okay if you don't. Maybe try both. Try just kind of slumping, right? Just kind of rolling the shoulders forward and kind of like almost in that cow position or that cat position. And then sit up straight. And do you notice a difference? I'm sure you notice a difference now. But if you don't, that's okay, right? And then we'll just take some side bends. So bring one hand down next to your hip, other arm overhead. And then other way. Right? You don't have to go all the way down. It could just be a little side bend. And an option to look up to the extended arm, to the extended hand overhead. If the neck is a little tender, then don't worry about that. You can just look forward, keep the head neutral. So teaching was the path for me. It felt safe, it felt comfortable. And I'm trying to remember where I was going with that story of teaching. But yoga definitely played a role in the classrooms that I was in as well. So I taught yoga to my students as well. And they thoroughly enjoyed it and would ask for it frequently. And what a great thing to offer children that may not ever get to access something like yoga. I worked at a Title I school in Los Angeles. Not a whole lot of resources for some of these people. Families were so very kind and thoughtful and very appreciative, right? So, all right, sit up nice and tall here. Bring your hands to your shoulders. Again, we're gonna try to keep the elbows high, but if they need to come lower, that's okay too. But bring them up as high as feels comfortable and safe, and we're just gonna turn a little side to side. So keep pressing down into your sitting bones. Feel, if you can see if you can feel some length on the side body. And then growing your spine through the crown. Just little twists side to side. You gotta move this energy to get it out so it doesn't stay stuck in the bodies. Something I felt for a very long time before I understood about many of these things, but I always felt that keeping bad feelings, holding on to that, people that that are just walking around like with scowls on their faces and they're unhappy, they're holding on to and harboring some heavy stuff, but they don't let it go. And to me, in my mind, that just festers and grows literally like a cancer. So being able to move and get out this stuck energy so it doesn't just sit there and fester and grow, and then before you know it, there's like a tumor or something. True story. I'm pretty sure my sister developed a brain tumor because of her undealt with trauma. She's 22 years older than me now, doing much better than she was before. But, it's all of our responsibilities to heal, right? It may not have been, and then you can stop, right, and rest, right? And then just notice, what are you feeling? Where are you feeling it? I'm feeling something in my arms, my shoulders. They're feeling a little stressed, right? Like I got some good energy out. But thinking about that kind of stuff, like not letting things process, holding on to it, right? It's not healthy. We have to let it go. And that's why this practice is so important, because it's going to allow us to move the energy. We're not going to feel so heavy and so, I don't want to say like restricted maybe, or muted even, you know, type thing. All right, I see Andiel had a comment there a few minutes ago, and I just want to check it really fast. I'm just going to sit back and listen since I almost, Andiel, I'm sorry. Yeah. Oh, Mia, that's awesome. Angela, thanks for inviting Mia. That's awesome. I appreciate that. Yeah, and absolutely, if there's anybody else that you want to share this practice with, I'll be doing this for the next, the whole month. So every Wednesday in October, we'll meet on Wednesdays. And like I said, it's just going to kind of build on to the next thing for each week. So some of the postures might look the same. Some of them might look a little bit different. But the idea is the same. You got to feel it to heal it, right? So this is why this practice is so beautiful at home, is that if something does come up, you are in a safe, comfortable place, right? Because if we were even together, if we were together in the same space, there's no hands-on assists, right? Nobody's walking around in yoga in this particular type of practice. We'd all agree to stay on our own mats, right? Because this is literally what I would teach my students, my special ed students, is that when we roll out our yoga mats, this is our island, this is our space, right? And so I would even teach them, if you need to leave during the class, do not walk on people's yoga mats, you walk around them. This is their space, this is their island. You want it to remain pristine, right? That's just their space. And my students understood. One time we had a practice in the auditorium, and a worker for the school district came in, and he walked right over my yoga mat with his big old work boots, left big old dusty prints all over my yoga mat. And the kids were like, oh, Mrs. F. And I was like, it's okay, kids. He doesn't know. That's okay, but I will let him know, right? So again, boundaries, right? Finding, establishing boundaries and letting people know this is okay, this is not okay. And that's also part of reclaiming and taking back our power, right? We find that inner voice, we find that inner willpower, that confidence to stand your ground, right? And beautiful, right? We made that boundary, and now our responsibility is to hold those boundaries. We can't let people push, push, push. Because if those people are pushing back on our boundaries, do they really love us? Right? Because our boundaries are our self-care, right? We are protecting ourselves, right? Because we have been through situations where we had no control, right? And so like I was saying earlier, it wasn't our fault, whatever happened to us, but it is now our responsibility to heal, right? And move, I don't want to say move forward, but move in a way that you are compassionate to yourself, right? No shame, no guilt, right? I can't be upset for what happened to me. I can be sad about it, and I can be angry too. I don't feel like there's any human emotion that we're not supposed to feel, right? We all feel them for a reason. They're there for a reason. They're there to clue us in. It's like, hey, I need to do some more healing work here. I need to understand why this is making me feel this way. Self-reflection, svadhyaya, yoga, svadhyaya, right? It's our self-study. It's part of our yamas and our niyamas. We have to have that ability to self-reflect and course correct and go, you know what? This is not who I want to be. This is not how I want to move in life. I need to change something, right? Yeah. Okay, let's get a little bit more moving. So let's go ahead and find our way to stand. Find our way to stand. Okay, and the same, let's just find some balance. Let's find some equal balance in our posture here. So maybe shift a little side to side. You can even lift your toes up and wiggle them. Okay, now take a peek down at your toes. Can you lift your toes? Can you spread your toes? It's okay if they don't lift up very much, and it's okay if they don't spread very wide. Okay? And then just gently lower the toes down. And then feel that groundedness. Do you need to have your legs closer together? Do you need to take your feet further apart? I want you to find balance where you feel comfortable on all four corners of each foot. So maybe even lift the heels and then rock back, and perhaps maybe you lift the toes. Try both. Or don't. Maybe it's just on the heels. Bring the heels up. Maybe that's all you're going to do. When you do that, what do you notice? Where are you feeling that sensation? For me, when I lift my heels, I feel it right in my calves. They start to burn, right? So bringing this awareness back to our body. This is your house. This is what you inhabit while you are here on this planet. So this is what we have. We need to take care of it. Our health is wealth, right? Because you can have all the money in the world, okay? But if your health is suffering, you're just going to be doing whatever you can. But it's a good thing you have a lot of money so that you can throw money at the problem, right? But for me, I would rather work on preventative things rather than having to try to make up for it. It's going to cost so much more, right? It's going to cost more than money. So I'd rather try to take care of the health now. All right, so come to equal standing on both legs. And then I invite you to bring your arms up. And I invite you to press through the heel like you're standing in a box and you're pressing your arms wide. What do you feel? Where are you feeling it? Okay, I just want you to think about it in your body. I know if we were in a space, I might ask if anybody wanted to volunteer their answer where they're feeling it. But since we don't have that ability right now, since we're all standing, hopefully, I'm feeling it mostly in my forearms, right? I'm feeling that tightness in the forearms as I press through my heels of the hands. And breathe. Let's take a few more breaths here. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, and now let's exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Release the arms down. Shake them out. Shake them out. A little different, huh? My friends that normally practice with me, it's a little bit different of a practice. Yes. You know, and that's okay, right? It has to look different, okay? All right, we're just gonna take the arms, let them be loose, and then just sway a little side to side. Sway, just let the arms sway. And then gently bounce off your body. Good. And then maybe you stay at the same rate. Maybe you start to go a little bit faster. Maybe you might notice the shoulders are just, you may be getting in a little bit of a twist here as you're swaying the arms. Good. And then slowly, 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 we'll come back to center. Okay, now bring your palms in front of your chest. Good, it's almost TT-he, right? We're not even talking about posture names, okay? Sorry, it slipped. We're just gonna stand right here, press the palms together in front of the heart space. And I really wanna see how much and where you feel the engagement. What's happening in the back body? What's happening in the front body? So just bring that attention, bring your awareness to the back body. Do you feel the shoulders kind of tightening? And then maybe here, the front, maybe you might feel the upper chest here, below the clavicles, below your collarbones. They might start to feel a little engaged too. And maybe your biceps and your triceps and your upper arms, so you might feel that engage. And then just for fun, can you take your fingers together and then take them apart, but you're still pressing your palms together? Just adding a little different kind of movement, a little different sensation, right? Because it's not about the yoga postures or the yoga names. It's about feeling into your body, right? And we're just using this kind of vehicle, this movement, this thing we call yoga, and it doesn't even have to be called that. It could just be called mindful movement, because what we want to do is pay attention. Good. All right, and then carefully release the hands. Release the hands, shake them out. Shake out the hands. Let that shake out to the arms too. So let the arms just kind of go. Good. And then maybe you start wiggling the shoulders too. A little different, right, my friends? A little different. Good. Just shake it out. Right? This is what I'm finding myself doing. I'm finding myself doing things like this in the privacy of my own home, or somewhere in the spa. I'll find a corner at the spa and I'll just start doing something, and then start to maybe shake a leg and then switch. We're getting this, whatever this is, right? We're getting it out. We don't want it stuck, right? We hold on to it, it's just going to fester, right? What is it? I think it was Buddha or Thich Nhat Hanh. One of them, somebody said, anger is like holding a hot coal, expecting the other person to get burned, right? So like, these are some of the things I think about, like when we have these feelings, right, that we might consider negative or bad. And like I mentioned earlier, I don't feel like any of the emotions we have, aw, y'all are so cute. Go ahead and come down to a comfortable seat. Yep. And then let's just take the legs, forward very gently, right? And it's not about like sitting up nice and tall. It's going to be a little more of like a yin pose that we're going to kind of get into. But where you might feel it in the back of your legs. So only take it as far as feels comfortable and safe and sustainable, right? That's a good word, sustainable. Can you hold it? Like, I don't want you like, oh my God, this is, I can do it, but no, I don't want that. Back off and then just notice. So walk the hands forward until you begin to feel a stretch in the backs of your legs. And then once you start to feel that slight stretch, just wait there, right? We're not needing to go all the way down. I just want you to notice when that feeling starts, just pause there. And then we can stay here for a few breaths. And maybe we can walk ourselves a little bit deeper, right? Again, and if you join me for Friday night yin practice, I talk about that a lot, right? That's why for me, yin yoga makes a lot of sense in the trauma world, right? Because we are asked to hold still, which can be very, very difficult in trauma-sensitive classes, right? To have that ability just to hold. And so you may have noticed, you may have noticed we've done a lot of movement, right? Repetitive movement, not complicated, right? Simple, basic, but we're moving. And that's what we need to do. We need to move, right? Too much of America sits and does nothing. There's a reason why we have two legs, right? We need to use them. We need to walk. Walking is very, very important. So again, if you feel a little less sensation, maybe you go a little bit deeper. And this is one of the only ones we're like really holding. And then observe, where else are you feeling sensation? Maybe it's not just the backs of your legs. Maybe it's not the hamstrings you're feeling the only place. Maybe you're feeling something in your spine. Now breathe there. Where you're feeling the sensation, can you imagine the air getting into those cells in those spaces? Carefully walk your hands back. Roll up, inhale. And then we're going to come down to our backs. Like I said, this is not a very long, complicated practice. We're going to bring ourselves down into a brief Shavasana. Not very long. Because again, this is one of those postures, for some of us, Shavasana might be very challenging to stay still in. So when you're ready, I am using a bolster. You're more than welcome to use blankets, towels, couch cushions, whatever you have. Build a little structure if you like, which I think I might do. So if you have 2 blocks and a bolster, you can kind of make the same little Stonehenge I'm going to make. Now, being mindful, right? That's part of it. This is, like I said, mindful movement. Doesn't need to be called trauma-sensitive yoga. It's mindful movement. If coming into a position on your back is not comfortable, be on your side or be on your belly. But definitely take some time to find a position that feels safe and comfortable and sustainable, right? Okay, so for me, I'm going to do that. I'm going to take my blocks, set them up high, and put my bolster on top. My blocks are close enough so that my bolster isn't going to like fall through. What kind of dog do I have? Looks similar to ours. She's a little rat terrier chihuahua. Got all 12 pounds of her. That's Betty. She's always with me when I teach, so she's a regular. Oh, mama, as you go, girl. Yeah, she's like, yeah, whatever. You're ignoring me. All right. So I invite you to find a restful position on your back, on your side, on your belly. And if none of that sounds right to you, you're like, nope, not going to work today, then I absolutely invite you to find a comfortable seated position. Maybe you put your back against the wall so you have some support. That might feel really, really nice. Otherwise, if you are on your back, maybe bring your hands to your solar plexus, right? That navel center. You can bring your hands there. And then gently rock your head left to right. This only works if you're on your back. Just rock your head side to side. And then gently find center. So you're looking directly up towards the ceiling. And if it feels safe and comfortable to you, then I invite you to close your eyes. And just breathe. Notice if any of those spaces that you felt kind of tight in or were holding tension at the beginning of practice, beginning of our class, notice if there's been a shift. Just notice, right? We're not going to get upset. We're not going to be angry and like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm still so stressed out or I'm still so tight. It's okay. It's okay. We're not going to judge ourselves. We're not going to be critical. We're just going to accept it, right? Again, those slow, smooth exhales, releasing any of that energy or anything that you don't want to carry with you. Also, tonight is, well, it's a new moon, so it's time to plant those seeds. Time to think about what you want to come into your life. So like I said, we're not going to be here for too long. So begin to deepen your breath. Wiggle your toes. Wiggle your fingers.
Take your arms overhead and then invite a nice full deep breath into your body. And then carefully roll over to one side, exhale. Just pause there. And as you are ready, come up to a comfortable seat. We are going to close our practice with some breathing, with some pranayama, some meditation. So here is the part where I can teach you a tool through the breath when we start to maybe experience uncomfortable sensations in the body, right? So when you get in those spaces, it happens, right? Sometimes I'm in the middle of having a conversation with a client and like maybe we're talking on a topic, a subject that is, you know, kind of touchy. It's close to the surface, right? As you can say, right? It's just right underneath. And sometimes it's like the right person, the right words, the right conversation, all of a sudden you're just like, ugh, oh my God. You just like kind of, maybe the floodgates open up or maybe it's like TMI. And for a lot of us that have experienced that trauma, we are like oversharers, right? I have a gal I work with. She's a super oversharer. I get it. And I have so much love for her and compassion because I know what it's like, you know, like to kind of just give it all away. Because it's like we're trying to find our value. We're trying to like show this person who we are. This is me. Don't you like me? Don't you love me? I'm so great, right? It's like we're just waiting for that little like good girl. Oh, sorry, mama. I startled her. Good girl, right? She's been traumatized. I do need to be mindful of my little pooch that was a rescue. Right? So when I encounter people that are those oversharers, I see so much of me in them because I understand that. And it doesn't take long. Maybe, you know, maybe you're gifted like me in that aspect. It doesn't take long before they start to open up and they start telling you everything and you go, ah, yes. And then it kind of confirms a little bit about what you already kind of suspected, right? No judgment, right? It's just like, this is my experience and I see you, right? And that's what this is too. I see you. Even though I can't physically see you, I see you, right? I'm here with you. I'm here holding this space for you and for me. So let's do some box breathing. This is the tool I'm going to offer you tonight for you to use. And it can be used anytime, anywhere. It's so simple. I'm sure many of you already know it. Box breathing, square breath, 4x4. It has many names. So the idea is, if it's your first time, you inhale for a count of 4. You exhale for a count, or excuse me, inhale for a count of 4. Hold that breath for a count of 4. Exhale for 4. And then hold the breath out for 4, and then you start it all over again, right? So 4x4. So take an inhale through the nose. We're just gonna do a couple cleansing breaths, and then we'll start our 4x4. So inhale through your nose. Exhale, release through your mouth. Let it go. Again, inhale through the nose. Open mouth, exhale, release. One more time, inhale. Exhale, let it go. Now sealing the lips. Inhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now suspend all that breath out. Don't take anything in. 2, 3, 4. Inhale again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Suspend the breath out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4. hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale it out for 1, 2, 3, 4. Suspend it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last round. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale it out for 1, 2, 3, 4. Suspend the breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Return to your normal breathing pattern. And maybe just wiggling the fingers, wiggling the toes, giving the shoulders a little shake, a little shimmy. Just notice how you're feeling, my friends. How you doing? You doing okay? That was it. That was our practice tonight. Nothing too complicated, but really just kind of establishing what you're feeling. This is your body. This is where we make those boundaries. Oh, 100%. Absolutely, Angela. Oh my gosh. Yes. And that's the thing. It's important to be mindful of who we are sharing our stories with. I've been sharing my story since I was a kid, like literally since I was a kid, telling my friends of my experiences, and they would just look at me like, and I'm like, what do you mean? It didn't happen to you? No, Casey, that did not happen to me. Right. Yeah. And so I'll share with you another tool I like to use when I have done that, when I have done my over sharing, right? My TMI, too much information, right? Gabby Bernstein has that acronym, WAIT, WAITYMI, talking. It's kind of a good, useful tool when you see that kind of like glazed over, or like they start playing on their phone, like and you go, oh, okay, I've said too much. I'm just gonna reel it in, right? And then maybe ask them a question to re-engage them in the conversation. Oh, good, Louise, good. Patricia, thank you very much. Thank you, Nirali. I really hope this is a helpful tool for you. And like I said, I'm recording it right now on my phone, and I will try to have this up sometime later for it, on my other thing that I'm doing, the P word, the Patreon. Sometimes people are just jerks and don't listen 100%. And then that's also too, like, we're like, do I need to say anything? Like, there's people I just know I'm not gonna tell them certain things because I know it's either irrelevant, they don't care, or they're not going to remember. And why am I going to kind of expose myself and open up, right, to somebody that just doesn't care, right? And that's us being mindful and our boundaries, right? Like my gal at work, like to protect herself. But then again, it could be because of who I am, right? And like sometimes people know who it's safe to share things with. And my coworker probably sees that in me, and she's like, she's a safe person to share this with. I'm not a blabbermouth about people's personal traumas. Like, that's not my bag. I don't like sharing that kind of stuff about people. That's, for them to share. But definitely, like, maybe she just kind of sees me as a kindred spirit that I know she knows she can trust me. So maybe it happens to you. I'm sure maybe, yeah, like you have people that you'd meet and all of a sudden they're very comfortable and they just share so much with you, but could also be their own trauma, their TMI. They need to wait. Why am I talking? All right, my friends, your donations are always greatly appreciated and accepted. But of course, this is one of those classes where if I don't get paid for it, I'm okay with it. I mean, because this is my seva, right? This is me giving back to a community of people that I hold dear in my heart, right? So I totally get it. But if you do want a copy of it, that you're going to have to pay for because I got to do some work to make that happen.
stopped talking mid-sentence and walked away because someone wasn't absolutely Heather, absolutely. And that's a boundary. That's like, why keep trying to like make this connection with somebody that you know is just like stonewalling you? It's like, nope, my time is going to be spent elsewhere, right? And then after weeks of not talking, they're like, oh, what's wrong with you? Yeah, exactly. You're like, yeah, we're okay, we're fine. Thank you very much, Ron. Very much appreciated. Nirali, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, Heather, I'm so glad you showed up. It was wonderful. And you know, it was funny, it was interesting. It was like one Sunday I was teaching on Insight Timer, and I was like, I think I want to do a trauma sensitive series. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it for October. I'm like, yeah, let's do it for October. And I was like, yeah, there's 5 weeks. Perfect, let's do that. So that's what I did. And I love doing that, you know, and like every quarter I do the yin chakra balancing one, which is always wonderful too. But this one just is a little bit more, it's been on my heart and I wanted to do it and I had to make the time and I found the time. So I'm so grateful for all of you for showing up and being here. I hope you got what you needed. And if there's something that doesn't resonate with you, it's okay, right? Just let it go. It's fine. Take what you need. Take what you need and leave everything else behind. Even if it's just the 4x4 breath, take that. Or maybe it's the grounding. Maybe it's, you know, putting your hands down and tapping the floor, right? With your hands, with your feet, and really understanding and feeling into your body. You know, so I definitely invite you, encourage you to move your body in ways that you don't normally move your body, you know, and like I'm here, just Betty and I, you know, so I do start doing some stuff, shaking my hips a little bit, like when I'm just feeling a little, you know, anxious or have some things that are just not moving through me, I just start moving my body. So move a muscle, change a feeling. Move a muscle, change a feeling. All right, my friends, I will see you on Friday night at 5 p.m. for our regular yin yoga practice, our Feel Good Friday yin yoga practice. So if you are new to me and you want to try some yin, come join me on Friday and you will start to see, oh, there are some crossovers. Casey also speaks that way in her regular class too. And then as far as I know, yes, Sunday I will be doing, we'll be hosting Hatha at 9 a.m. here. So all of it's Pacific Standard Time or whatever Pacific time we're in right now, and because I'm here in Las Vegas. So Friday night, 5 p.m., Sunday, 9 a.m. Thank you so much for all the love and the support and the donations. They are greatly appreciated for my expertise and my knowledge and all of the trainings and all of the things I learn to make this accessible and digestible to you, right? Because that's what really this is about. If yoga is kept in this like tight little book that only 5 people have, no one's doing it. So we got to make it bite size and morsel size. But this is a practice that is very important, and I would love to offer this in schools for kids, you know, that have experienced it. I was able to teach some trauma sensitive yoga at the shelter a couple of years ago here in Vegas, the women's shelter. I had a partner. She was, you know, teaching the adults, and I got to work with the kids and think about what they're going through. You know, living in this transitionary place in a shelter. They don't have everything they're accustomed to. So it was a tough space to be in, but you know, there were days when I drove away crying for sure. But to know that I can be there with them present for those 45 minutes and offer them something to use so that they can apply that, because I know they've got to be frustrated and angry and sad and confused. And that's why yoga is amazing, and this is why I choose to share it. So thank you all for being here, and I will see you whenever I see you next. And if you want to reach out, please feel free to follow me on Insight Timer, and then you can message me on Insight Timer, I respond, or you can find my website and email me however you want to communicate. Find me on Instagram, it's totally cool, or just email me. All right, friends, I will see you soon, and thank you so much. Oh, I forgot to do our closing. Let's close. Okay, inhale, reach your arms up and overhead, palms touch. Exhale, bringing down all of that divine universal energy to your heart centers. And that divine universal energy vibrates as the frequency of love through which you and I and all sentient beings are connected on this planet. The light in me salutes and honors the light in all of you, my friends. Namaste. Thank you so much, and take care.